Welcome along to another episode of Scottish Football Matters with myself, Murray, and my good friend Lorenzo.
Right.
This week we're going to review the weekend's games in the SPFL. Then we're going to have a little chat about the transfer window, who did what went well, what didn't, and then we'll do a wee midweek prediction. So, how's things?
Aye, I'm not bad. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all right with the transfer window, and no, in some aspects, and off. You know what I mean? But we'll get to
Yeah.
that.
Yep. But I think so best place to start is just Saturday. We'll go through the games. Let's start with St Mirren Dundee. It was a 0-0. I thought St Mirren did really well to get the point out of it after the red card. I
Mm.
have to say, I've still not seen an angle to suggest whether it was or wasn't a red card. So I'm going to need to go with the referee. But every angle I've seen just didn't show any sort of form of contact.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to trust the referees at some point.
Do we? Do we
But
really?
I think whenever you don't have an angle to suggest it is a red, I think we need to just go, well, you must have seen something.
Mm.
But Stephen Robinson didn't seem happy with it, and the players seemed a bit like, really? Red? But I think those people look at that and think, oh, it's another St Mirren draw, and obviously Kilmarnock won. But I think that was a good point for St Mirren, and I think they'll build on that
Aye.
because sometimes it takes that sort of like, that adversity, going down
Mm-hmm.
to 10 men, and everyone thinks, they'll fold. But they actually battled on, and if Mandron could finish, they could have won the game.
Yep.
So I think that's a good point for St Mirren, and I think it's just another point that keeps Dundee further clear of those bottom teams. But
Mm-hmm.
did you anything else to add on that one? Or
No, I mean, I'm hoping that St Mirren can hopefully take it on to the game tonight.
tonight? Yeah. Next one, I think Aberdeen lost 3-0 at Kilmarnock, and while I expected Kilmarnock to get something, I probably didn't expect that.
Aye.
Um,
Definitely.
what I'm going to say is I don't think that's a judgment on Aberdeen though. I think maybe they've made a lot of changes.
Mm-hmm.
New manager, players coming in, and maybe it was too much too soon. And
Yep.
maybe it might happen again against Celtic, but I do think once we get into like mid-February, March, you might see a decent Aberdeen actually, because I think they've got a decent squad of players. I just
They're in the
think that it was,
they're in the bottom six though, aren't they, at the minute?
yeah, they're about seventh or eighth.
Right. So they could
They're
still
sort of
finish in the top six.
near Dundee United, but you don't want Falkirk pulling away because Falkirk could pull away for those two because
Uh-huh.
Dundee United and Aberdeen both took heavy defeats. I know Falkirk got beat, but they were expected to lose at Parkhead,
Mm-hmm.
and let's be honest, they performed a lot better in their defeat than Aberdeen or Dundee United did in their defeats. So, but I think for Kilmarnock, it was a big win for Neil McCann. I think you could see snippets of what he's trying to do, and they
Yep.
actually did some really good business in the transfer window. I mean,
They did.
bringing
Right.
in young Finlay Curtis from us is a good signing for loan, but the boy Hugo, who was at Man United, and I remember him scoring against Rangers in a pre-season game at Murrayfield, and he looks a decent player. And I thought, oh, that'll be a loan. I seen it was permanent. I was like,
Well, they've
Jesus, that's a
also
good
is
signing.
that I mean, who's the guy? Is that the guy you're talking about? There's a guy that came back to Kilmarnock for the fourth time, but
Oh
he's
no,
now
that
permanent.
Shabola as well.
Uh-huh.
He's a good wee
Aye.
player as well. So they've
Mm-hmm.
done some good business, and I think they'll. I still think they might be 11th, but I don't see them losing the playoff against any of the championship teams with that
Oh, you
squad of
don't?
players.
Right.
No, I just think that they've done good business, and I still think St Mirren or Dundee could get dragged into it if they have, But Dundee made a good couple of signs as well with
Mm-hmm.
Scott Wright. But we'll get
Aye.
on the transfer window. But I think great result for Kelly.
Yeah, it was. Aye. I
Um,
mean, it's unexpected, but they done it.
I don't think it was unexpected because I think you could see wee bits in their
Oh, I
games
know,
where it
but
was just like individual errors were really costing them. So
when you're
eventually you're going to get that game where you don't make individual errors.
but when you're in a bit of a rut, you kind of it's when I say unexpected, I'm not meaning totally unexpected, but
No,
when they're in that kind of lull and they're not getting anywhere, it
but
has to
even though
change at
they,
some
they,
point, doesn't it?
they took a beating at Motherwell, but you could see signs in that game. Like they got the early goal that was offside by about a toenail, and then you get a red card, and you're just like, I know that these things happen, but you know there's always going to be a game where they don't happen. Like they do get the first goal, they don't get a red card, and fair play to
Yep.
Kelly though, because I don't think they should be down there. I think they've
No,
got
probably
decent
not.
players. But on to Livingston Motherwell, very basic. Maswinishi scored 2 goals, and Livingston were poor. But the main talking point about that game is probably what happened after it, with David Martindale
That's right.
stepping upstairs. And I have to say, I think that's a really smart move because
Do you think that was his decision? Do you think the board done that with him?
I think it's a club decision because I think he's been there so long that
Aye,
maybe they're
they're
not
needing a
listening.
change probably.
Need a different voice, but you can't sack David Martindale. I mean, it's almost impossible to sack him because
he's not going to get a job anywhere else, is he?
But how good a job has he done at that club? So maybe moving upstairs and maybe, being there as a support for Marvin Bartley, who, by all accounts, is a good coach and,
Well, he was
deserves an
unlucky at Queen of the
opportunity.
South when he was there.
So, yeah, and I think don't be surprised, right, if they go and beat Falkirk in midweek, because that sort of change of voice, you see it happen all the time, and it's just football, isn't it? Sometimes you need a wee change of scenery.
Now that he's the manager as well, will he be still appearing on Super Scoreboards?
I don't know, maybe in less time. But the last one on Saturday was Dundee United against Hearts, and what I would say is, I thought Hearts' first goal was a really good goal, really good run down the side, cut back, great finish.
Yeah.
Then the game gets ruined by a red card. That is a red card. It's a terrible challenge by Fata, but I don't think he meant it. But it's one of those ones that when you catch him in the ankle, then I thought the penalty.
He's not meant it though. I don't think he's meant it.
But let's be honest, Asgard didn't mean to kick Tony Ralston in the stomach, but it's still a red card.
I know.
You can still have your eye on the ball, and you can still be. It's just, but if you make contact in an area with studs, then you're gubbed. But I thought that I've watched the penalty about 4 times now, right? And I'm still not sure it's on the line. I still think it was just outside, but
it's one of them ones.
I just think it's one of those ones where I didn't think it was a clear and obvious error. And again, we spoke about it last week that VAR should only be getting in. And I don't think that was a factual overturn, because
unless it's a clear and obvious error, VAR shouldn't get involved. That's basically
I know they're saying that it's factual, it was on the line, but it's still very much opinionated, because I can see that contact is outside. Yes, one of the foot is on the line, but I don't think that's the foot that made the contact. Or, you know what I mean? I just thought it was a really... on the back of the red card, and it ruined the game. And then obviously they get a second red, they get the penalty goal, they get the other goal. And fair play to Hearts, they're taking care of games quite comfortably.
They are, unfortunately.
And that's why they're favourites for the league, because right now they're taking care of the rest, and that's where Rangers and Celtic probably want them to slip up, but they don't look like doing so.
Thankfully, the next time we play them will be at Celtic Park, though, so hopefully we can do something.
But next time you play them, the title might be over for all you know.
It might be. It could be.
Because who's to say that your fixture isn't the last day of the season?
I know. It's a bit...
can it be? What could?
No, can it be? Because if we're at home against them, they're going to be... If they win the league, they'll be home for the last game.
No, the SPFL don't work like that. They just decide the fixtures whenever the fuck they want.
No, but whenever we've won the league, we've always been last. The last game's at home, so you get the trophy.
Yeah, but the title's been over, and you know that you've won the league like 4, 5, 6 weeks in advance. This time you might have a situation where 3 teams could win the league with a couple of games to go. You can't. They could put a scenario where but they can't put us all at home, because Rangers and Celtic are in the same city. There's an option. But the thing is, put us all away.
But we're all going. No, but we're all going to have to. I mean, we can't go to Tynecastle 3 times. We're going to have to play them at Parkhead. That would be completely unfair.
No, that won't happen. You'll get 3 home games after the split, and at the moment you'll be home to Rangers, Hearts and Falkirk for a third time, and Rangers will be away to Falkirk for a third time. But that's just a draw.
I've never understood that. See this having to play somebody 3 times at home or away. I mean, what is that all about? By the way, what's that about?
You have to get 19 home and 19 away.
I get
that. After 30 games,
Who
one team
decides
will have played
what team
17
in
at
the
home.
top six it is that you play either away 3 times or home 3 times? How does that
It's the lowest. It's the
work
lowest ranked team apparently.
in the top six? So if
Yes.
Falkirk finish sixth,
So
then
it'll
we'll
be
be playing
Falkirk
them at Celtic Park, right?
for a third time, and we'll be going because they would say it's unfair for Rangers to go to Motherwell or Hibs for a third time. We'll go to the lowest ranked team for the third time, and it's
Well, that's a
unfair
bit
for
shite
you
as
to
well. I
get.
mean, see if it, especially if there's a title race on, you want teams like yourselves or even Hearts going to somewhere that's going to be a bit more tricky, i.e.
At the
teams that are
same
higher
time,
up.
though, but at the same time, we are due to play Hibs and Motherwell at home for a
Aye.
second time, and
Mm-hmm.
that's only fair. I don't think the situation is fair. I don't like
It's
the
the
split.
split. I hate it anyway.
Never have. But if we move on to the Sunday games, we'll start with Celtic because I've got to admit I thought Falkirk were every bit as good as Celtic
They
in
were
the
all right.
match. I thought they
They
played
were all
some
right.
good stuff. I don't think Celtic were that good either, but Celtic were
No, but
clinical.
they done what they had to do.
The goal that you scored, very good header, good striker's goal. I thought
Thomas Schwancher.
he took it really, really well. The second goal is a good goal, right, in terms of the build-up play before it, but the keeper's atrocious. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what Scott Bain's doing at that. I was going to give it goal of the weekend if Scott Bain hadn't went with the wrong hand and it pretty much went through him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because the build-up play was beautiful. Like, I
And see
think
the
it was
third goal.
McGregor, Tierney, they were all involved. It was just offside to
I
Netke.
know, but aye. But the thing is, see if Maeda isn't there, it's no offside and it's a goal because Maeda actually blocks it from getting in, and he's the person that's offside. So if he's not in that
Maeda,
position, it's
but
a goal.
Maeda's been terrible for weeks. He got in the way in Chansfara at the Tynecastle, didn't he?
I know he did as well, aye. And
So his
the goal
head's
that
not on it though.
but the goal that Chavanchara scored, that was
So
Sutton-esque with a header. That was a cracker.
yeah, it was a good striker's goal. Yeah,
Hmm.
and he gets himself in good positions, and he
He
looks
does.
decent. I
Yep.
think 2-0 flattered Celtic in terms of the overall play because I thought especially the first half, and the Falkirk were like that at
Well,
Falkirk.
Schmeichel pulled a save off right at the beginning of the game,
There was the
pretty much right
Barney
away.
Stewart's header right into the corner, looked goal bound,
Hmm.
and he made a
Aye.
good save with that. But Falkirk have been desperately unlucky against you in the last two games, and they probably should have got something. And I'll come on to that because I said before the Hibs game that Hibs have been desperately unlucky against
Hmm.
us, and eventually their luck will change and they'll get something. And it wouldn't surprise me if Falkirk get something the next time they play us
I still
because
think that Celtic are
their
due to
play.
scud someday as well, though.
I don't think Celtic look like scudding anyone because
I hope
I
they
don't
do.
think he's play open and expansive football. Like
Mm.
not like the old days where he's used to be like Celtic Park. It could be 3 going on 6,
I know. Of the
against
time
anyone.
was time we scored
But
8 against Dundee
but
United, or was
now
it 9?
it's looked like 2-0. 2-0's an effort
See, to
at
be
times
honest,
for
see if we
Celtic.
were to win 2-0 in every game for the end of the season, I wouldn't
You win the
complain.
league. That's what
That's right.
matters. But
Doesn't matter.
I think Celtic edged it. But what I would say is that I thought on another day, Falkirk take one of those chances, it could be a completely different game because I
Hmm.
do think they're a good team, a really good team.
Aye.
Onto the Rangers game, I thought Hibs edged it. I thought it was quite close. I think a draw is probably about fair, but
Mm.
I thought in the overall balance of play, I thought Hibs edged it.
I thought Hibs were unlucky at times. I thought Hibs were
Yeah,
unlucky with some of their chances.
poor finishing though. Like
Aye,
Boyle hits it straight. I mean, I don't think
I know.
Butland had to work particularly hard for his
For
saves. They were
any of the
straight
saves he
at him.
made, they were all kind of
Yeah,
straight at him. Aye.
but at the end of the day, you still need to be there.
Aye.
And I think Rangers they didn't really create it, apart from the offside goal, which
Mm.
looks close, but you need to go with the lines. And but Rangers didn't look like scoring until Mikey Moore come on. And again, I've said this
He
time and
looks
time
about
again,
10, by the way.
Rangers shouldn't be relying on an 18-year-old for
Oh, he's
a
18, is he?
form of creativity.
He looks about 10. He looks dead
Good.
young.
He will be a good player one day. Like one day he'll be in that Tottenham team and probably in the England team.
Mm.
His levels are that high,
And
but
then I must have
the
mentioned
levels right now he's not there.
what was the Raskin thing all about? I mean, that didn't look like a foul, and yet he was greeting about it, and then ends up
Well,
pushing
I
the
think
he pushed
what
the
I
Hibs
I
player,
think
gets
what he
booked
says
for it.
is he's off the ball and he's running into the box and the boy clips his legs. Now I think it's accidental, right?
I
I
don't
do
think he's
think it's
meant to
accidental.
either. Aye.
No, but at the same time, if you're a player trying to run into the box and you get clipped, you're going to assume they've meant it right. And in the moment, I don't think he needs to push him, but I don't think that Iredale should have been booked, or I think it was Iredale.
I think it
I
was
don't think he
Iredale.
should have been booked. I think book Raskin for lifting his hands and just leave it at that. But I can understand why he's frustrated, because he's making a run into the box and he thinks that someone's intentionally clipped him, which
On
on
the
the
telly,
pitch in
it
that
doesn't
heat
look
of
as if the view that you see on the telly, it doesn't look as if he catches him at all. It's as if
he does. I think it's just one of those ones where he's just clipped his heel when
it's
he's
just the
running.
angle you see on the telly, though.
But you
It's
know
the
what it's
angle.
like when you're running fast. Any sort of form of contact will put you down. But
Of course, if you're
all I'd
running at
say
speed.
is Rangers didn't deserve any more than a draw. But I think what I took out the game, the only positive, was it's another clean sheet. And Rangers,
Well,
if they keep up these clean sheets, as bad as we are in the final third, we'll be there or thereabouts in a title race. Do you know what I mean?
I'm just
Because
glad we've caught up the goal difference and we're now second in the table on due
it's
to
the
goals
exact
scored.
same. Goal scored, but
Aye, because we've scored a
I
lot more
don't.
goals, but
I don't look at it as being a terrible weekend for Rangers.
no,
You know,
but
it's a that's a tough game that we could have lost. And let's be honest, yous are probably going to need to go to Easter Road after the
I
split,
know,
and
I know.
Celtic could draw there. Hearts could lose there.
Well,
Celtic
we're
could lose there.
hoping that Hearts can
Uh,
lose there.
so what I'd say is I don't think it was that bad a result. And it just, and all it takes, everyone keeps saying tonight, oh, we'll get to tonight. But in fact, I think we'll move on to tonight, actually, just do the quick predictions of the six
Aye, and
games,
then we
because
can talk about the
everyone
transfers.
keeps saying that, like, Hearts can go 9 clear, but what if they lose and Rangers and Celtic both
Exactly,
win tomorrow? Then it's 3 points.
exactly. Mm-hmm.
And it's
Exactly.
and Rangers have got to play
Not
Hearts
even
twice.
that. Even if they
Anything can
draw,
happen.
they don't even need to lose. If they draw and Celtic and Rangers win tomorrow night, then we still claw back points on them. So
I think
it's
if we look at the 6 games, right, so we're going to
mhm.
start with. Do you know? I think we did briefly give a prediction the other day, and I said Hearts would win, but I've changed my mind because I seen something in St Mirren that I haven't seen for.
Is it Tynecastle?
No, it's at
Right. So it's in
Spicer,
Paisley. Right.
but I seen something in their performance that I haven't seen since they played Celtic. If I'm totally
Right.
honest, I seen fight, I seen
Well,
hunger,
they've
I
not
seen.
really done it since they played Celtic in that cup final. So
I know, but
you
that
know.
has to change somewhere. Do you know what I mean? And maybe they were living on their glory, and now they've
Mm,
realised, shit, if we don't pull our fingers out, we could get
right.
relegated.
Exactly. Yeah. They
And
don't want that, do they?
I'm actually going to go really bold here and say, just like Hibs deserve to overturn 2 good performances where they didn't get the result against Rangers, I think St Mirren have been good against Hearts, and they haven't quite got the results. I think St Mirren are going to win this game 1-0 in a very cagey, very horrible, probably miserable and cold in Paisley. It's always miserable and cold in Paisley.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to say 1-0 St Mirren tonight.
All right.
Just a feeling that pressure of trying to go 9 clear,
Mm-hmm.
Hearts might
Well,
might slip up,
here's
and St
hoping.
Mirren will get a
Fingers crossed.
Drogic set piece goal or something.
So when does it ever happen that me and you are wanting another team to get beat so that we can we can get up?
No,
But
no, but
aye, I think that it'll be 2-1 to St Mirren. I think St Mirren will score 2 goals, but I think Hearts will score.
I don't. I just think I
I hope
watched
they
them.
don't.
I
I
thought
hope they
I
don't.
thought
But
they looked really. I know they scored 3 at the weekend, but they played 9 men and they got a
well,
penalty, and
this is another thing I know. 9 men. It's see if it was the 9 men, would they have won? You don't know.
they might have. But I didn't think they looked great. I mean, and you can pick the bones out of that first goal that you need to stop it
And
at
I still
source. You
say,
shouldn't be letting a guy go to the byline and cut it back to 2 yards.
Trusty,
But
Trusty doesn't get sent off. We probably possibly win that game, but that's
I could look back to if Shankland didn't play basketball and they didn't get a penalty that wasn't a penalty, and we didn't get a foul on the keeper that was minimal.
mhm. Aye.
It could be a different game, but it doesn't work like that. You
I
just need
know.
to take advantage when you can. But
I'm
if we
just
go on
glad
to the
we're
other
back.
games,
We're basically back where we started before we played Hearts anyway in the league now.
and
We're
I
all kind of.
don't see it as any difference. At the end of the day, Rangers were miles behind Celtic and Hearts. So
I
what?
know.
We're joint with Celtic now.
I
We've
know.
still got we've
Due
still
to
got
Celtic
Celtic to
bringing
play
in somebody
twice.
like Nancy and the whole fucking season falling apart, but we'll not go there.
But let's go all the games. I think Hibs Dundee United. I'm going to take Hibs to win. I'm going to take Hibs to win quite big. I'm going to go 4-1.
Mm.
I think they've made some good signings over the last couple of days. I think that Dane Scarlett's a great player from Tottenham.
Scarlett looks good, doesn't he?
And I watched him against Rangers, and
Aye,
like
he looked good.
Sterling's a quick boy, and he caught up and went past Sterling pretty quickly, and I was like,
Hmm.
Jesus, that's scary.
Have they got
I
him on
thought,
loan?
Yeah, he's on loan. On loan for Tottenham, aye.
for Tottenham, right?
So I'm gonna take a big win for Hibs because Dundee United, when they're bad, they're bad,
I think
and I
Hibs will
think
win, but
not so much. They go to red cards, but you need to remember those boys will be missing for this game.
mm,
And Fata's a good player,
I will be.
and I think the other boy is at Kamara in the midfield. He's quite a strong boy as well, and I think Hibs will take advantage of that.
I think Hibs
And
will win, but I don't think it'll be as comfortable as you say it will be. I think it'll be closer. I think they'll win 3-2. I think it'll be a goal fest.
okay, next one again, I'm going for a shock. Dundee Motherwell. I'm going to take Dundee to win at home because I think Dundee have done some smart business. Scott Wright coming in, I think it's a great signing for that level. I never thought he was Rangers level,
Mm,
but he's definitely mid SPL level, isn't he? I mean, you can't
Mm-hmm.
argue that. He's a decent player at that level, and I think when you look at him, Congreve, I think they've got creativity now,
Aye,
and
they've done all right, Dundee.
I think yeah, I kind of fancy them, and I just think Motherwell are probably due a slip up because they've
They
been really
probably are,
consistent.
but
And
yeah.
by the way, I think Motherwell are the form team in the league, but as you've seen with Rangers, all good runs come to an end,
Mm-hmm.
and something just tells me that uh, Wednesday night at Dens is probably the place that Motherwell's pretty football might not work. If you
Yeah,
get what I
well,
mean, it
aye.
might just be that of sticky, horrible, and then we don't know what frame of mind Mash Vinicius in. Maybe he wanted to go, maybe he didn't, and I don't know. I sometimes just think
Anyway, I'd go
there's
if I was
games that
Celtic. I'd be getting in for him in the summer again, trying to get in for him anyway and getting him.
I'm gonna let's see how he
Mm.
performs.
Aye, between the new and end of the season anyway.
But yeah,
But
I'm taking Dundee 2-1.
you might not be wrong, but I probably still would back Motherwell to win the game, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a draw. So I'll go.
So
I'll
what
go one
prediction
each.
you got? We're going to
All
talk
right,
about more of
I'll
them.
go with a draw then, one each.
Draw, right? Livingston Falkirk. Again, I think Livingston will get a point. I don't think they're good enough to win the game yet, but I do also think that new voice, that sort of, I think it'll. And by the way, Livingston's record against Falkirk is mental.
You
Like
never know; they might
last
get a new
season,
manager bounce and actually win the game.
they might because the last result they got in the league was Falkirk. It
Hmm
was beating Falkirk. I don't know. I'm going to go one each. I'm going to play a wee bit safe because I don't think Falkirk look losing that sort of game.
I think you're
But
right.
I'm going to say 1-1.
I'll say 1-1 as well because I don't. I think Falkirk. You give Celtic a good game. Plus, I don't think Livy. They're no. They're not. They're going to get relegated. They're definitely going to finish bottom. They're not going to get out of that. I don't think so. It's one each for me.
Right. Rangers Kilmarnock. I think this one's it's a tricky one, but I don't see it being. I mean, to be honest with you, like I said with Celtic, I don't see Rangers going and blowing any team away like 3-4-0. I think it'll be 2-0. I think it'll be quite like the games that we had against Aberdeen, where it might involve a set piece. It might involve,
And you've also
I
got to
think,
remember it's against Neil McCann and Billy Dodds, so it's a
and
wee
they
freebie
should
for
know.
these.
Yeah, I don't believe in that though. Like, because I don't. I think they'll come and they're fighting for their lives down there.
Well, I hope they
But
come and fight and play and
I
try and
just
win.
think that Rangers at home. I think, especially if they start Romans the left back, and I think if Nadiri's on the bench, I think that gives the crowd a lift. And I think you've
Oh,
seen
did you
that
get
yourself.
him? I thought he was coming
Yeah.
in the summer.
So I think when you see that those sort of signings, like if you had a home game and it's a sticky one, you bring on the new signings, the crowd gets a lift. We've all seen it, and I do think it will be a close 2-0, if that makes sense. But a bit like I suppose a bit like you at the weekend. I thought that was a close 2-0. Like it was still 2-0. It still looks on paper comfortably, but
Mm.
it won't be. So that's where I'm at with that game. I don't think it will be pretty. I think it will probably be a set piece, and it'll probably be a late second.
I think he's probably will win, but I'm hoping otherwise.
I
Um,
know you always
I,
hope,
I'll,
but
I'll, I'll, well, hope is there. I'll say that they'll hopefully do what they did at the weekend and draw or one each or something like that. Hopefully,
okay. Aberdeen Celtic. This is a tricky one because if Aberdeen play the way they did at Kelly, Celtic will win. If Aberdeen play the way they did against Livingston, we've got a chance.
Hmm.
I don't want to get all Jekyll and Hyde again, but I actually think it depends what Aberdeen show up, not what Celtic show up. I think if Aberdeen
Right.
show up with a bit of fight, then they can get in Celtic's faces. I don't think Celtic have the quality to just steamroller teams anymore, and
No,
that's
well,
been
well,
totally honest.
we don't know yet
Whereas
because we'll
in the
need to wait and see
past,
what these new players are going to be like
no,
when they
but what I'm
actually
saying
get a
is in the
chance.
past you've always felt like it didn't really matter what the other teams did. Now it feels like
That's
if
because
a
the
team
team's
comes,
completely downgraded from what it used to be. I mean,
no, and
we used to have
that's
a decent
factual.
bench to bring players on that actually improved the team better than the team that started the game.
And I actually think a lot of this depends on how tonight goes. If you know what I mean, like I
Mm.
think if Hearts do drop points, Celtic will win. But if Hearts win, I think Celtic could draw.
Oh,
If you get what I mean, I think Celtic would. If Celtic have an opportunity to take advantage, they'll take it.
I bloody hope no.
But I fear that I don't fear. I think that Celtic are due losing some goals under Martin O'Neill. I don't think they've been as good as the results have suggested, and I think Aberdeen will be up for it. I think it's always tricky.
No, Aberdeen. Martin O'Neill always kind of motivates the Celtic players anyway. He's always done that. He's a
I
good man
always
manager and he's a
think
good
it's
motivator.
I always think it's harder going to Aberdeen in a midweek. I don't know why.
That is,
A
aye.
nighttime game in Aberdeen's
Hmm.
just tougher, and I'm going to go 1-1.
I'll go
Um, uh,
3-1 Celtic. 3-1. We probably will
but
concede a goal,
again,
but I think we'll win 3-1.
I think a lot of that will depend on how tonight goes. But if
Aye.
we go on to obviously the transfers and we just sort of talk just about Rangers and Celtic, I think I'll go with Rangers first because we didn't do as much. We brought in Nadiri.
Hmm.
We needed a striker. It's a lot of money on a third division German striker. I think people have put a wee bit too much emphasis on third division German because, let's be honest, we've bought players from third division England before, like Gary Hooper, like Joe Aribo.
Well, Gary Hooper cost, what, 2
Technically,
million, I think, for
I,
Celtic?
I,
Something like that.
I know, but
I think it
but
was.
2 million, but 2 million back then probably is 4-5 million now.
I
If you know
know.
what I mean, just the way.
Hmm.
So I don't think we need to put that much emphasis on.
But would you pay 3.5 million for a third division Scottish player in the third division of Scotland?
Not in the Scottish division, no. But I
No.
would pay it for. We did pay it in the third division in England when we brought Fernandez up.
The English lower tiers of England are far better than the lower tiers.
Yeah, no, but this is Germany, and we don't
I
know
know.
how good Germans are. We know how good the top tier is, but
Aye.
by all accounts, the second division and the third division are really tight. There's not
Hmm.
much difference in quality.
Aye.
Um, but what I'm going to say is, unless Rangers start creating more chances, I don't think it matters. We could have Erling Haaland up there,
Hmm.
and it wouldn't make a blind bit of difference.
Hmm.
So this guy could be amazing, but if we don't give him create him stuff, then it means nothing. And I do think we will create him stuff. I think he'll probably be okay. I think he has to be an upgrade on Miovski or Chimie. But I think overall, Rangers window, we wanted a left back, we got one. We wanted a centre mid, we got one. We wanted a striker, we got one. And we wanted a creative wide man, we've got one. Doesn't mean that they're going to all work out. They could all be horrendous, they could all be brilliant.
Yeah.
What I would say is Danny Rowe's been backed, and now it's on Rangers to actually challenge for a title, actually
Hmm.
show that they're good enough. Because I don't know if they are, but I
Right.
don't know if they're not. But I genuinely think Rangers could scrape their way to a title
I think
without playing
Celtic could
well.
still do it as well.
Aye. Um, but I think, yeah, I think it was a good transfer window in terms of I mean, let's be honest, we brought in three 22-year-olds and a 27-year-old,
Hmm.
26-year-olds. They're good ages, and they're ages where, and they're all permanent, which obviously will come on to with yours. But they're all permanent. They're all going to be here. Well, we know that Scott Wilson is a loan to buy, but it's an obligation. We will be buying them. So I
Yep.
think it's good business in terms of we're looking ahead to maybe next year's challenge as much as what happens in the next 14 games.
Hmm.
But Celtic, I'll let you go. What did you make of the loans and more loans?
Well, I got a bit fed up yesterday, really, with the whole Joel. Is it Joel Mavuka? Is that his name?
Mm. Yep, his
The whole
failed medical, but then it
failed
turned into
medical.
a loan.
I heard that the whole failed medical thing was due to the fact that he's got a heart defect. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
true,
but Celtic should
but
have known that anyway, because
this is
it
the thing.
happened when he moved
It could have
to
known.
the French team. Yeah,
Aye,
it's all
but
over Wikipedia.
what's annoyed me about that is we were prepared to pay for him, and we've ended up not spending any money on a player to bring him in permanently. Every player we've brought in's loan signings, so they could all be. I mean, we've got options to buy on them, I think, but they could all be away in the
Yeah,
summer.
but then
And then
you could have options to buy, but the new manager comes in and goes, nah, 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 nah.
the only positive I'm taking out of it, or the positive to take out, is the fact that we wanted a centre half, we got one. We wanted a
Well,
right winger, we got
you've
one.
ticked
We
all the
wanted a
boxes.
striker, we got one. So we have
And I
ticked the
think the other
boxes,
positive is that Araujo has
and
improved
he's
at
been
right
good. And
back.
so is
Ranchara has
the big
improved.
centre forward.
He's an
Yep.
upgrade on Kenny Yamada that level, so
And
he's a massive
I'm hoping
upgrade.
that what's his name? The other boy. Oh God, it slipped my
What
mind now. The
the striker?
guy, what was his name? Oh, Celtic
Uh,
one. I can see
the
him. I
one
can
you just
picture him.
said, Adamu.
But Adamu, that's it.
Yeah,
Aye.
yeah. He's
Junior Adamu.
yeah.
I'm hoping he's an upgrade on Kenny as well.
He's a typical Old Firm signing in it. He looked good, then he's failed, then we try and
And we're going to try and build him up again.
revitalize. But that's what you need to do. That's the market that we live in now. That's why Rangers signed players like Cantwell and Celtic signed
But that's what I
Ranchara and
don't get.
Rangers signed Scott Wilson,
I don't get that
because
about the
you're
Celtic
getting them on
support
the
that
way
moan.
down.
The Celtic support moan because we're not going out and buying big money players. We bought Engels for 11 million. They're all moaning about him because he's not good enough. And you're like,
I know, and then he gets
but
25 million
but
bid,
then
which was
exactly.
mental.
But
But
I was, be honest, I was quite glad that we kept him because I I was actually thinking yesterday when the bids kept coming in, I thought they're going to let him go and we're not going to have enough time to get another replacement in. But
yeah, I mean,
they basically doubled down and they said no.
yeah, I think it's
And
a bit
turn
like
then you've got an
Rangers.
angry, you've got an upset player now because
I
obviously
don't think you do. If you speak to him and say you can move in the summer, then he might be all right with it. And I know people say, "Oh, that bid might not come again in the summer because it's panic buying on
well, they will.
deadline day."
Some what
And
that was. Somebody will pay that.
it might not get to 25 million. I agree with
No,
that, right?
but
But
20, we could get 20.
at the same time, right, Rangers turned down bids for Chimite because not because he's good, but because,
Probably couldn't afford to
and
let him
let's be
go.
honest, Engels and Chimite are very similar, right?
Well, Tierney's a striker.
Based on the
Engels, isn't he?
based on no based on the eye test, right? They're not very good, right? If you look at them, you go, Engels doesn't do enough to influence games. Chimiti doesn't score, right? So you look at their jobs. Engels should be influencing games as a midfielder. Chimiti should be scoring goals as a striker, right?
See for
But
me, Engels should be doing what Negrin's doing, scoring goals for
yeah,
midfield. And he doesn't do it.
but football transfers aren't like that anymore. No one goes to go scout a player and view them.
I still,
It's all
I still
data.
don't think
It's all
Negrin.
analysis.
Still don't
No,
think
no, but
Negrin does enough.
what I'm
I know he
saying is
scores goals, but
people are looking at Engels because they go, right, okay, he's in the age range of 19 to 23. He's got so much pace. He's got
he's
good
got.
pass, and he scores.
Do you know what he's
It
got?
doesn't
He's
matter.
got
He's not
potential.
very good, but
He's got
but that's what
potential.
they
That's it.
buy. And it's the
Buy
same with
potential.
Chimiti.
But
Chimiti's the
can
exact
you
same.
pay £11 million for potential?
Yeah, we can because our 11 million is 25 million in the Premiership, because that's all Nottingham Forest were doing is buying potential, but their potential cost 25 quid, 25
Well,
million.
we done it. We done it with Edward. We bought him for 9 million. He turned out to be excellent. So it can work.
It can, but I think Celtic are right to hold on, just
I
like I
was
think
quite
Rangers are
I was quite
probably
happy with
right to hold on.
I was quite happy with the £7 million we spent on Julian as well because I thought he
Because
was a good player.
as I said, these two players don't pass the football eye test, right? They don't. But teams are bidding for players not based on what the everyday fan sees. The
Hmm.
everyday fan will prefer a Nicholas Raskin, right, who runs and runs and runs and does this, right? But he doesn't meet the data thing where it's like, oh, is he over 6 foot?
Aye,
Because that's all they seem to care about
Celtic
now.
don't use that data analysis thing.
No, no, but
We don't have
but
anything like
big teams do though. And
that. Well,
Celtic aren't a big team in
we're
terms of
we're
that.
supposed to be a
Uh,
big team.
So what I'm saying is that, like, Raskin might not get picked up by these data things, even
Mm.
though, I mean, let's be honest, right? I can name 5 players in the SPL and centre mid who are better than Engels, right? And I'm
The
sure
one
you
guy
could too,
probably, yeah, but the one guy I did
right?
want we didn't
Negrin,
get.
McGregor, and Hatate are all actually better than him, right?
Mm.
Hatate's not playing better than him, right? But can you
Mm.
agree with that?
Aye.
That overall their games, and I think Diomande and Raskin are every much better than him. But at the same time, that doesn't matter because data suggests that Engels has a higher ceiling than possibly some of those players. Do you get what I mean? It's like I can watch Hatate and go, he's got something. Doesn't always show it. And Diomande's the exact same. It's like, aye,
Mm.
some weeks he looks brilliant, other weeks he looks like he's never played football.
You know what I was thinking? Do you know? See when the bids were coming in, and I thought they were going to accept it. I thought maybe what they will do, or maybe what they should do, is get the money in, spend whatever Motherwell want, get Asmanisi in, and then go to Udinese and see if you can tempt Lennon Miller in to
Lennon
replace
Miller.
Engels on
Or
like a
even
loan deal.
or even go to Hibs and try to get Mulligan or Chaiwa. Because
Mulligan, that's right, Chaiwa.
to me, they're both players who probably look as good as Engels does, and they're players at an age that you could sell on for a lot
Hmm.
more than you'd buy them for. And that's what it's about nowadays. It's just buying low or medium and selling high.
That's a low ball offers.
But to be fair, that Rangers have absolutely backed two managers. It's just a
Hmm.
shame that one of the managers couldn't manage. But
Yep.
but in terms of what the board have done, they've backed, and I think Rangers, again, as I said, this isn't about the next 14 games. Rangers are building for next year and maybe
Hmm.
the year after.
Aye.
But no, I think we'll leave it there, and we'll even though it's a Scottish Cup one, we'll come on Friday because obviously we've got a full weekend of
Aye.
full midweek card to review,
Hmm.
and there's less games in the Scottish Cup because we're at the last 16 now, aren't we?
That's right.
So
Yep.
it's not like last time where it was like Jesus, we had to read out about 50 games.
I
So
know.
this should be quite easy. It's just 8 ties. We can
Hmm.
pick our winners,
Aye.
and it actually seems fairly straightforward, if I'm honest. The Scottish Cup. I'm not
It
I'm
should
not
be.
seeing I'm not seeing many shocks off the bat, but you never
No,
know.
me either.
But you never know.
Oh, you never know. It's a romance of the cup,
Rangers.
all that kind
I
of stuff.
said that last time before Rangers played Queens Park.
Aye. Playing them again.
But
Is it Ibrox again, innit?
yep.
Aye.
Jesus, if we get a last minute penalty, Tav's no taking that. I'm telling you that.
I,
But
I
we'll
would
leave it
just
there.
say I
And
hope lightning strikes twice, but I can't see it.
oh no, it can't happen. But we'll see. We'll see what this midweek brings because I'm sure that'll be a fun one anyway.
Aye.
Right, right. We'll leave
Right.
it there.
Right,
Right,
cool.
catch you later.
Right.
Right, bye,
Cheers, mate. Bye
bye.
bye.